This is the 12-week benchmark review videos. Just a heads up, this one's going to be a little bit longer, not just because it has more problems, but there are several of these I'm going to do several different ways, including showing you how to do the calculator steps. In red by each problem, you can see what the answer to the problem is going to be. I went ahead and marked them. Also, the key to this is posted on Google Classroom. It's a little bit difficult to read, so they're marked here as well. So number one says, which is a factor of? Be very used to these type of problems because this is a really great way that the EOC likes to ask these, because they can ask you this problem and make you actually factor it instead of being able to put it directly into the calculator and match up the graphs, okay? So what we have is we have x squared minus 7x plus 12. So we're looking for factors of 12x squared that can add together to be negative 7x. Well, I know that's going to be 3 and 4, and more specifically, a negative 3 and a negative 4. Now, if you remember, when there's a leading 1, you can jump straight from this to our factored form of x minus 3 and x minus 4. Therefore, our answer is A. Now, you can also box method this, and we're going to have to with a one like number 2 because there's a leading 7, which means we can't take that shortcut. So if you don't like that shortcut on number 1, just do the box method like we're about to do with number 2. With number 2, we're factoring again, and we're looking for factors of 21 r squared, because that's our first piece and our last piece multiplied together, that can add to be negative 10r. Well, I know 3 and 7 go into 21, and specifically negative 3r and negative 7r will add to be negative 10. So I can run this through our box method. We use the front piece. Okay, that front piece I just put a line over the top of. That goes in the top right. I've seen people today just writing r squared there because you've gotten so used to problems like this one. It's 7r squared. 3 goes in the bottom corner, and then our two new pieces, negative 3r and negative 7r, go in our other corners of the box. Notice all we've done is really split up this trinomial. 7r squared, 7r squared. Negative 10r got split up on the diagonal, and 3 went in the other box. It should represent the original trinomial. Now, whenever I GCF the top row, I get 7 for the number and r for the variable. I get on the bottom, I get 3, and because this is a negative, this is a negative. Here, there's no number that goes into 7 and negative 3, so it's just a 1r. And here, there's nothing that comes out of both of these. And if nothing comes out, we just divide a 1 out of everything. So my two factors are 7r minus 3 and r plus 1. Notice how many good distractors there are here. Whoa, this should have been a negative 1. Look at me, I'm already making a mistake. There we go. Glad I didn't do that in front of class. Would have cost me a Jolly Rancher. This would be r minus 1. So there we go. There's your test taking already coming in handy. I noticed, look how close some of these answers are, and 2 of them were the right answer according to the last way I did this problem when I got it wrong. 2 of them would have been the right answer. So that should have made a red flag, and it did. Made a red flag go off in my head, say, hey, there's 2 right answers. What happened? Go back, check my work. So, ooh, that's a negative 7. I just harped on this one, and I forgot about this one. That'd be a r minus 1. So this is out because that's plus 1. 7r minus 3, this one's out. And this is just the reverse of that. So our answer had to be C. Number 3 is a topic that a lot of people haven't seen in a while, so I even told a couple classes to focus, make sure you could do something like number 3 because it's been a while. That's greatest common factor. It doesn't mean just the numbers, it means the numbers and the letters. If I look at the numbers first, I know I can pull a 3 out of both of those. Then I look at the A's. They both have A's, so I can take some A's out, but I've got to know how many. This one has 3 and this one has 2. I can only take out the lowest number, meaning A squared. This one doesn't have 3 A's to give, so I can't take 3 away from it. Next, I look at the B's. They both have a single B that I can pull out. Just to complete the problem, if we want to know what was left, I took away the 3. I took away 2 of the A's and the B, so all that's left from the first term is an A. The second term would be a 9 is all that's left. But that really wasn't what mattered. What it asked was what would be the GCF, and the GCF would be that on the outside that we pulled out of both pieces. Number 4 is another factoring problem, which is a factor of. So we're looking for factors of 60x squared. That's my ax squared times my constant c. And I need them to add together to be negative 23x. That seems like a tall order, but I know that 3 times 20 is 60. If you're ever not sure which numbers will go into that, go into your y equals, type in that number, 60, that's what we're looking for factors of, divided by x, and look at the table. Anything that's a whole number is going to be something that goes in evenly, and 60 has a lot, so we go through it. 1 and 60, if I add them, it's 61. If I subtract them, it's 59. That's not 23. 2 and 30 would be 32 or 28. That didn't work. 3 and 20, if I add them, it's 23. Ooh, wait, that might work. So let's try it. 3x and 20x. Well, if I multiply them, I get 60, but if I add them, I don't get negative 23. But if I make them both negative, it now suffices what I needed it to do. I go over here, I roll them into my box. My front piece was 5x squared. My back piece was 12. My two new pieces are negative 3x and negative 20x. Let's see if I can get the signs right this time. Messed them up on number 2. When I pull out a factor here, I get a 5x. They both have an x. I can pull an x out. On the bottom, I get a 3, but it's a negative because this was negative. You always copy the sign next to it. Here, all I get is an x. There's no number with 3 and 5 have in common. And here, I've got 20 and 12. Be careful because we need the GCF. I've seen a lot of people today write 2. 2 is not the largest number that can come out of those. You can get a 4 out of both of those. And because this one's negative next to it, it makes that one negative. Okay? So my two factors should have been 5x minus 3 and x minus 4. And I'm just looking for the one that matches that. This one's barely off. This one's a bit backwards. That's a plus sign instead of a minus sign, so our option had to be D. Our answer had to be D. Number 5, which of the following quadratic functions has a maximum? Okay? A maximum means that it opens down, which means our quadratic term, even if it's whatever number it's got out here, has to be negative. And it specifically has to be the quadratic term. This is an extremely tricky problem because most people look right here at option D and they say, oh yeah, negative out front, there it is. But look at our quadratic term. Our quadratic term is positive. So we're just looking for a negative quadratic term. This one's positive, this one's positive, this one's negative, meaning our answer has to be B. Number 6 says write in standard form. Standard form just means I've got to, and there's a little typo right here. Don't worry about that. Obviously, it's not the right answer anyways. Means I've got to distribute, double distribution, foiling, first outside, inside, last. First numbers times each other is 3x squared. Outside numbers is negative x. Inside numbers is positive 24x. And last numbers is negative 8. This should have been a minus 8 right here, and it's there to trap you and trick you into thinking, oh yeah, look, there's my answer, 24x minus x. That's everything's already in place. But that isn't standard form. Standard form involves us having all of these combined, because standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. It's only 3 pieces. So when I combine those, I get 3x squared stayed the same, positive 23x minus 8. Had to be answer B. Okay, no other option. Had to be B. Number 7 is giving us 2 symmetric points, and you just need to remember the formula and what an axis of symmetry is. Axis of symmetry is a vertical line, meaning C's already out and D's already out. Those are horizontal lines. You can graph those in the calculator. Our formula for axis of symmetry is x sub 1 and x plus x sub 2 over 2. We're averaging them. We're just finding what's halfway in between them. Well, that's 5 plus 11 over 2, which is 16 over 2, which is 8. And that, x equals 8, is our vertical line that splits the parabola in half. Y equals 8 would be a horizontal line. We need the vertical axis of symmetry.